2, 1, and we're live.
All right.
What's your topic?
The question is this.
Should I take off my hat because I look good?
Yeah, sure.
I look like shit.
You like my Moana t-shirt?
Ooh.
You don't know what Moana is because your kid's older.
I know what fucking Moana is.
Moana.
Moana's when they went to that island and it was a mother and then she was like bad and evil and they healed her. And she came out and she's like, oh, right?
Wow, you never seen the movie, huh?
Yeah, it was
That's not the mother.
the mother island.
She's the island, yeah.
Yeah, but it looked
She's like a god.
Yeah. And she was evil.
Yeah. All right, ready?
It looked like she had gas and she needed to let it out.
Yeah.
She let the gas out and she turned beautiful.
My daughter picked it out for me. So
Oh,
So I was like, all right.
don't like and subscribe.
Inconsistent.
So you're on a train.
Oh, no.
You're driving it.
I might be driving, hopefully, if they accept me.
Yeah. And in front of you are 5 construction workers.
Oh, we're doing this again?
Everybody knows the experiment, but I got to say it.
Okay.
You can go straight. You can't stop the train. It's like, oh, shoot. Or you can turn it to a different track and only kill one guy. The question is, which one do you kill?
What's this experiment called?
The trolley.
Oh, you gave it its own name.
That's what it's called.
Oh, okay, great.
It's called the trolley. I don't know what it's called. Trolley something.
Trolley horse.
Trolley. Because it's not a train, it's a trolley. Most people would say
One guy dies.
one guy dies versus 5. That makes sense. Okay. Other people would say,
That could be the president of the United States.
Yeah,
That
it could
saves
be.
the future later on.
you can say this thing about abortion. You can say this thing about everything.
Don't
Yeah.
bring abortion into
All right.
this. I thought we were going really lighthearted on this
Yeah.
episode.
So the question is, what would you do? Right? Do I go straight and kill these 5? Or do I make this turn and kill this one? Neither, you have, somebody has to die.
Someone's dying.
You can't stop the train. Right?
There's no emergency brake? Go ahead.
Nope, there's no way to stop it. You tried the emergency brake, it's not stopping.
Okay.
There's another version of this, which is more interesting too.
Oh.
Again, most people would say, kill the one and save the many. Right? This is the Vulcan way. This is the
Vulcan way.
logical way. The other version is you're standing on a platform and you look to the left and the train is coming. You look to the right and you see the 5 construction workers in the zone, not paying attention. You're like, that train is going to kill those 5 construction workers. And you look at the train and you see the conductor screaming, oh my God, like he can't stop. He's freaking out.
You got the lever.
No.
Oh.
Next to you is a fat nigga. 500 pound, 1,000 pound big back playing with his phone, not paying attention. And you looking and you're like, if I push this guy in the tracks, he's stopping that train. So the question is, do you push the guy in the track to stop the train, or you just watch him kill 5? I forgot the term of this. I was for a while I was looking into this ethics. Jesus Christ.
You're struggling today.
It's an ethical problem. So I was
First of all, might I say that ain't no way a fat dude is stopping a train.
well, just say, but use an imagination here.
That's
a big back. He can gum up the wheels.
like Mark.
Bigger, fat nigga. A little tap. Once you set him off balance.
I know, but you know what my problem is? That physics won't allow my brain for the fat guy to stop the train. Hold on.
But you can watch X-Men and freaking
without
no
I'm
problem.
fucking Storm, nigga. Listen, but I will tell you this: like my GED math brain, which is way superior than yours in math.
Yeah.
I know how to do algebra. No. I will say it won't stop the train. In my head, this already determined what happens. It doesn't stop the train, but it causes such a
that the guys.
that the 5 guys are like, whoa, and jump out of the way.
Okay, that's good enough. We'll accept it.
Yes.
All right.
I get my way
So
again.
you push him. Kill one, save many.
Push him. Oh my gosh. The
Versus, right? Both scenarios, you're saving more people. But there's something about the action of pushing someone.
the direct involvement versus the indirect, like no, not indirect. It's like just letting it happen, whatever that word is.
So I was watching. So Yale, Harvard, all these schools, they actually record their courses and they let you watch it for free. If you have podcasts, you can listen to them, or YouTube. Sometimes you catch them. So there was last month I was going in freaking ethics classes. I think I'm like convinced myself that if I go to college, I might be able to get a degree. I might have to trade in this GED.
This is what happens when you play with ChatGPT too much.
Yeah.
You think that you could do it. Go ahead.
Because I'll be listening to some of the stuff. I'm like, I think I could pass this test. Well, because sometimes at the end they let you take a test.
It's about enduring the whole course.
Well, you don't have to do it like that no more.
No,
Now we're in the future, baby. You just give it online, and if you're ready to take the test, you can skip everything. Take the test. If you pass, you get the points.
That's what they told you?
That's what it says on the thing.
I think you skipped ahead.
You have to pay for the test, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but
you gotta pay for all of it.
You can skip the whole class and just take the test if you pass it.
If that's the case, I could have graduated a long time ago. In high school, I would never. My teachers would be surprised. They'd be like, "You didn't do nothing. You take the test."
Well, you could then. What are you missing?
Like 32 credits.
That's not, bro. That's a whole degree.
No,
32.
it's 64 or something like that.
How much is a batch? You got associates?
Associates, yeah.
Oh, so you get off this GED square. Let's change this.
Okay, so back to the dilemma.
All right.
You see how our ADHD is real?
So the ethical conundrum people come across is that if I'm in the trolley, those people don't see me do this. I'm kind of protected from accusations to kill the one guy.
After what people think, I gotta live with a decision.
This is the ethics. Why this is easier to do. I'm not saying it's easy. It's easier than pushing someone.
Well, because you're touching flesh.
Yeah, there's something about the interaction that you're physically killing them, versus kind of secondhand killing. Like there's a separation.
Secondhand killing?
Yeah, there's like a separation there.
It's mechanical.
Yeah, like you're not in there doing it. The pushing is you actually physically getting.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, I have a phobia. My phobia is water bugs. You know this. You've tortured me so many times before. You see that face that he's making? He's a devil.
I've chased them for blocks and junklets.
In flip flops. And there was the flip flops that you have to go in between the toes. Like you gotta run. I was holding on like it was dear life.
All right.
So my phobia, you know my phobia, and I get disgusted. And I've killed water bugs before. I remember I took a 2x4. I was living in Avenue D. And I took a 2x4 and I killed the water bug. But in my mind, it felt like I was the tip of that 2x4 that was 10 feet long.
And you did it with your hands.
And it felt like I was doing it with my hand. So I use this analogy to describe what you're describing, to relate to what you're talking about, because it's something so tangible about feeling that flesh and feeling that flesh go into the abyss in your mind and seeing it happen.
And then
versus the cold steel, it's just a switch.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a separation. There's a separation of responsibility
and you push the guy, and as he's falling, he looks
turns
at you
back.
Like,
all that is gonna be stored forever. I have dementia now. I'll remember that shit.
And then you're freaking out. People come, "Oh my god, you're a hero!" And all you can think about is that fat Mexican guy.
Why he had to be Mexican though? Brother. Damn. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So there's I don't know the mentality behind it, right? This is so the one thing I heard about ethics is it's talking about what you already know,
Yeah.
but you don't know why you know it.
Talking about what
You know.
but you don't know why you know it.
You don't know exactly why you know it.
Because it's a societal.
Yeah. There's something inside of you that has this feeling.
How do you relate that to Christianity?
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up actually.
Oh no.
But I think it's that.
Not Jesus.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
We haven't done a Jesus in a while.
I think there's something that God puts in us. This is the consciousness that we have. I don't know if you want to call it consciousness. There's the soul, the spirit. I don't know. I don't want to give it a label because then you turn it into this thing that they can argue against.
I think what it is, if I were to phrase it, it's this inherent gene of self-preservation. Like to hold your breath and commit suicide holding your breath. How many people you know have done that?
4.
Really?
No, I don't know about it.
Oh my
Holding
god.
your breath
To die.
Well, you won't be able to do it. Even if you did it underwater, you'd wind up drowning because you want to take that breath.
So I think that there's
It's the apple.
Shut up. I think that we have this thing of self-preservation that we extend to our neighbor,
It's
our
the apple.
community.
I wasn't joking. It's the apple. We couldn't die before we ate this apple.
We couldn't die before we ate this apple.
Right? In the Garden of Eden.
What does that have to do with throwing the fat guy in the train track?
So the self-preservation part. We didn't have to worry about that before. Now we have to worry about that.
Okay.
Because we ate the apple. When God said if you eat that, you're going to die. We don't have to worry about dying. I'm good. But now that we ate the apple, now we got to worry about dying.
Okay.
Now we have to think about this. We didn't have to think about this before.
Right.
Now there's a level of knowledge that we have to deal with now. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly what God told him, what Satan told Eve. If you eat that, then you're gonna know like God knows.
Back to the question though, which was there's a thing that we have, but we don't know how we have it.
No, it's not have, it's know.
There's a thing that we know.
We all know inherently that pushing the person is way more visceral than pulling a lever.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to know why.
And you're saying
because everybody has their own reasons why. But I think what it comes down to is kind of like what you said, preservation of life, my life. And I know that it's what I'm doing to that person that could easily be me. And it gives me a feeling, a wretched feeling, a visceral feeling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
so
I think
so you wouldn't feel as bad pushing the lever?
Yeah. Most people, you'll feel bad. I'm not saying you won't feel bad.
You'll
but
feel
that's
less
easier than physically pushing somebody in your hand going.
You're touching that person.
You can feel their warmth as you push them. You can feel the fear as they're falling.
I am not touching a water bug, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah. But what is it that why do we have all that? Why do we have that in common? You're saying it's because of our knowledge of good and evil from the great sin.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to that. And then there's another ethics thought exercise. One of them is you got 5 guys in the hospital. You're a doctor. You got these 5 people that are dying. They all need a different organ. So to save them, 5 people, you need to replace all these organs. They're all different. This guy needs a heart. This guy needs a liver. This guy,
I remember this.
Make believe it's a.
And the one guy.
And there's one guy in the waiting room waiting for his appointment. And you're looking at the guy in the appointment like, if I kill him, I can save 5 people. It's very similar to the pushing the guy into the tracks. Because as a doctor, like, I can save these people.
Especially if that guy has a terminal illness that's going to kill him, that it's a body part we don't need.
Yeah. So, just like pulling the lever or pushing the guy, we know sacrificing one person is worth it if we're going to save more people. But similar to the pushing of the guy, Do we kill this guy in the waiting room waiting for his appointment to save these 5 people over here?
Well, this one is a little. Is it different?
It is different.
It is different because those 5 guys, they'll just die.
So what we're doing is we're just playing with different scenarios. What about if it was like this? What about if it was like this? So one of the ones is let one of them die. One of these 5, whoever goes first,
to save the other 4.
Save the other 4.
And leave the guy had nothing to do with it. It was perfect. He just came to check up on himself.
His GYN. Just let him have
He
his
just did a little.
Yeah. Let him get his prostate examined. Right?
Yummy.
So that's one of the games. Whatever. The freaking thought game. Now this is another version of this, which is more realistic. And I'm going to tell you the story first. Do you remember Minuet? You remember this?
I do. Tell me about her.
All right, she's named after this actually.
The experiment?
What I'm about the story I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
So there's a boat called the Minuet, and I think it's 3 or 4. So the boat sinks. There's a captain and like 3 other people, and then there's one kid on the boat that was a deckhand, just a boy. He was on the boat. He's like 17 years old, something like that. He was the reason why he's on the boat from the beginning, on the ship before the ship sunk and they all got in the freaking raft, was because he was an orphan. He has no family. He has nothing to look forward to. He figured, I'll go wherever this boat goes and travel. And if whatever land we go to, I'll stay and start a life. Sounds like Jack. Yeah. So they're trying to live.
Titanic.
I think they catch a bird at one point and they eat it. They share it. Eventually, they're there for long enough where they're kind of like, we need to draw straws and one of us has to die so we can eat them. One guy on the boat was like, no, we can't. I can't do this. He's a Christian or whatever, religious man. I don't know.
Had to be a Christian.
He refused. 2 days later, everybody else on the boat were looking at the kid like, he's going to die. We're going to kill him. And they killed him. And then they wind up eating it. Even the guy that said, we're not going to draw, I don't want to do that, ate.
He had to break bread, communion.
Yeah. Eventually, they got saved. A boat came, found them, however it happened. They went back to their country of England or whatever it was. And then they had to go to court now. Because now you killed somebody and you ate him. And that's a freaking crime.
Yeah, it's also disgusting.
So the thought experiment is, how would you, if you were a jury, how would you
rule?
You
and me are the jury.
Yeah.
It's 2 of us.
And we're looking at it and we're like,
what's your argument?
The argument is I was going to die. And somebody had to go. And he was the one. He had nobody.
So you're going to let these 5 guys go?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm asking
because
you.
The question is, why didn't you wait for somebody else to die and eat them?
Then there would be no meat on the bone.
Well, the fear is that I would be the next guy. I can't take that chance. All I need is one person to join my side to kill somebody else.
If that's the scenario, the fattest guy in there was like, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I'm going to survive. Do you convict the 5, the other guys, for what they did?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I think I'll let them go.
Wait, so you're going to let them go?
I think so. Even though they killed somebody.
Okay, but it lies on us. It's just, we're the jury. Just 2. Yeah. Me and you. You're going to let them go?
I think so. Because you think you're going to die. And because you fear it, you make a sometimes we react emotionally, we lash out, like a crime of passion. The judge kind of, all right, they kind of let you go for that. It was, you were caught up in the moment and you did it. And I can see them thinking like, I am dying right now.
But why? Okay, so again, we're the jury. This is real life, me and you. Our decision will determine the fate of these 5 guys.
Yeah.
My issue with it, and I agree with you, but why did it have to be the youngest guy? Why not get rid of the oldest guy?
So there was, during the court, again, this is a real case. During the hearings, every single man said, I had a wife and kids at home. He had nobody. So if somebody had to go, it was going to be him. And we all knew that.
But he could have had a family.
No, but we know he didn't.
It doesn't matter that he could have. You fucking
He could have, but we knew that he didn't. So that's why we all looked at him like, he's the one that got to go. He has nothing to look forward to at home. Nobody would miss him.
How did you kill him? How did they kill him?
They used they called it a penknife. I guess a knife that's like tiny. I have no idea what a penknife is, but apparently they cut him and he bled out.
Oh, stabbed an artery.
Yeah. Apparently that's how they did it. And they ate him. And they ate him over a few days, obviously.
No,
and they're stuck on a boat. I mean, you're stuck on a boat.
At least 3
But
weeks.
one of the journals of one of the guys that was there, because if you're dying, you're kind of like,
yeah, you're going in.
eventually they're gonna find this boat with our dead corpses on it. At least if we could write down what's going on.
I love you, Mom.
And on the journal entry, the morning that they got found, one of the guys wrote, after breakfast, blah 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 blah, and they used that in court. Like, look how nonchalant he was about eating somebody. He just called him breakfast. Like, he just didn't even think of it as a thing.
He was past the morality.
He was done. Yeah, he was just like, we're eating breakfast.
We're eating breakfast. We're surviving another day.
And that was the day that they got found, apparently. That was like the last entry in the journal.
I bet he regrets that.
I actually think
this is why niggas don't write in journals anymore.
now that I'm saying it, and now I don't know if the guy that said no to the straws, I think he got off, or he turned on the guys. I can't remember. There's more to it.
They drew straws to decide who
Yeah, to see who's gonna
die.
die.
And obviously they didn't. Minuet ship refers to the birth of the Minuet, which was the vessel involved in an infamous Rudley and Stephens case in 1884. The 4 crew members of the Minuet were shipwrecked and cast adrift in a small lifeboat. After several weeks of starvation, they resorted to cannibalism, killing and eating the cabin boy, Richard Parker, to survive. The survivors were later tried for murder, and the cases became a landmark legal precedent establishing that necessity is not a defense to murder.
Oh, so they found them guilty then?
Wow.
Because they're saying
Standing, the crew was adrift in another cabins. The trial. After being rescued, they were tried for murder, and the court ruled against the defense of necessity, convicting them of murder. The legacy. The Minuet case established a precedent that even in extreme circumstances, the right to life cannot be taken by another human, and necessity is not a valid defense of murder.
No. So they're saying, even if you're gonna die, you can't kill the person. And I think that person, if you're on the boat,
do you agree with that? Because we just just set those guys free.
I don't think that it's not a valid defense for murder. What I think is the mentality behind the guy.
In other words, you can understand the mentality.
Yeah.
But are we gonna find these? But
I don't think I would find them guilty either way, because I think that, again, just like a crime of passion, you kind of you're freaking out. You just do something right away. I think that's what was happening to the guys. They're like, we're gonna die. Like,
I don't know. Sound like an emotional bitch.
I don't know if you've,
because you're sitting there relating to what they were feeling at the time.
Yes.
You're not. We're outside of this situation, ruling on their lives.
Yeah.
And like they were in that situation, I'm not trying to get caught up in the emotions. That kid had every right to live. Fuck, I was willing to go as far. He had more right to live because he was younger than these old fucks. Oh. I took it a step motion on the other side, but in this case,
but that's the same idea of stand your ground. I'm fearing for my life, so I'm able to take action against you, and I have no reason to step back. Like, I stay where I'm at. But it's about fear. I'm fearing for my life, so I'm allowed to take this action.
So the judgment of putting them in prison for murder is logistically, mentally, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but the act in the moment you are ethically finding okay.
Yes.
So ethically, in that situation, you're okay with it. But as a society, as a people, as a nation, as a community based, a country based in laws, you agree with the. I think you're guilty.
Yep. Yeah. I can see myself being in a similar situation.
Okay, now we have to render a verdict and bring it to the judge. So what are we doing?
I think I would have to, as much as I feel like they should go. Rules are rules.
So you're saying guilty?
I have to say guilty.
But you just said not guilty, or not?
I know, but if we have to, because we're not going to make them just go. I'm not going to disagree with everybody and just be like, all right, well, they got to do the case again.
How different is...
When I know that we have rules as a society we have to abide by.
So something changed. The outcome of what we read changed your opinion.
No, I just think that if I say because of the way they feel, I'm okay with them making a decision amongst themselves. Because I'm not on that boat. You're not on the boat. We have to let them be a society unto themselves. You know what I'm saying? A desperate society that has to do something.
But because
they're not thinking about going to jail. They're like, we're going to die now. We have to make an action today. Like, we can't wait. So I'm thinking as that society there, not as the wider society. Now that they're in this country and now we have to rule, it's like, how do I think? Do I think them in the moment? Or do I think of them coming back into society? And what are we going to do? Sets a precedent to other people watching and like, oh, they let them go because of this feeling.
Yeah.
So I have no choice but to be like, at the end of the day, they're here.
I think what just happened here was that we started off, and I'm going to include myself, of letting them go because we were that person ready to push that fat guy on the train.
Yeah.
But because we saw that they ruled that they were guilty, I feel like we're hiding behind their decision.
Well,
because in our minds, it's societally or morally right. But just a few minutes ago, we were like, nah, let them go, because we saw ourselves in that boat.
Well, I think what it is that we know that once we say not guilty, society at large is going to see that as a way in.
To do what?
There's a crack in the system. We can get away with things. So we can't let that crack happen. We have to stop it at the gate.
You think that's what the jurors thought?
I think that's what I'm thinking. We can't allow one person to get away with it because then everybody gets to try to get away with it. That idea of I was desperate and I did this out of an act of desperation. The next guy's going to hear it and be like, I'm going to do that. And we do that today with criminally when they're insane. What is that called? When they kill somebody because they're crazy?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Damn, what's the word?
When they kill someone who they're...
Yeah, not when the person says, oh, at the time I was crazy.
They don't kill people when they're charged. When they're found crazy, they can't be charged. They go to a asylum.
Exactly, but that's what people do. They use that crack in the system to be like, oh, I'm gonna act crazy. I'm gonna say that I'm crazy.
Okay.
Oh, I heard voices in my head. That's why I did it.
So if they drew lots,
yeah,
and they all agreed, and the little kid or whoever was chosen, and they all agreed upon it, is it still murder?
It's still murder, but if you found them not guilty in society, I think society would be more open to be like, oh, okay, I get it now. They all agreed to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have found not guilty because at the end of the day, it's still murder.
Murder.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I think that's easier to accept as a society.
Right.
To be like, everybody agreed to it before we started.
And his straw drew.
And he just lost the straw.
And...
Because remember, we have to think that they're on this boat by themselves. And even if they eat this kid, they might all still die. They might know that. They might be like, we're just extending our lives for an extra week. We're still going to die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't know that they're going to live. They're just buying time. You know what I'm saying? They're just relieving themselves from the fear of, I'm going to die tomorrow.
Now I'm going to live for
Now
tomorrow.
I'll die next week. And then we'll draw straws again. You know?
Man.
But again, I think society itself won't accept that. Like, if we rule that in court, we have to set a
precedent.
There has to be a gap, like we do with everything. Like they did this with court recently. Yeah, precedent. Yeah, that's just the word. I mean, if with abortion, that's what it was. There's a legal precedent. It's not illegal, but there's a or it's not law technically, but there's a precedent. We've been doing it for so long. We gotta just let it keep going.
It sucks because they now go to jail.
Yeah.
Because in their mind, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. They now go to jail because I'm now sitting in jail. I'm spending however many time here because I chose to live versus knowing I was gonna die.
Yeah. But also,
so I'm alive now, but I'm here.
But also think about it like this, right? They're on the boat. They got to make a decision what's going to happen. Amongst them, remember, they're a society amongst themselves. They don't know what's going to happen. This may be the end of it. They formed a democracy, right? And they said,
we'll let the straw decide.
No, not the straw. Like just us talking. We decided amongst ourselves that he's going to die.
Oh, we voted.
We voted.
Oh, when the straw thing didn't work.
Yeah. We're going to vote instead. And we vote to kill him.
Yeah, but you would have to assume that when the straw thing came up, somebody wasn't with it. Someone was saying this is not the way to. We all have rights here. We all deserve to die. This straw can't decide.
You know what? I want to know if that guy went to jail. All right,
Yeah.
let's see.
The crew consisted of with the 17-year-old cabin boy Peter, Richard Parker.
This is the guy that refused to participate in the act.
Books refused.
Was there a date? No, they didn't say a date. This is the date. Is July 22nd. They killed him. July 25th. The anniversary is coming up next month.
Wow. What was their sentencing?
Oh, they were rescued 3 days later.
Oh my gosh, they all would have lived.
They probably would have. Maybe. I mean, you never know. One day might be it.
Nah, bro, they would have passed
If they were
out.
desperate enough to kill somebody.
Yeah, they were hungry.
Defense was based on necessity. The court, however, rejected defense. Legal significance.
Cultural impact. The case continues to be studied in law schools around the world, serving as a reminder of the complex interplays between law and morality. It also has inspired various works of fiction and popular culture, such as the novel Life of Pi. Do you have a specific case about... Yeah, what happened to Brooks?
Hold on, let's ask right here. Brooks. Okay. What happened to Brooks after the case?
Following the case, Emmanuel Brooks was acquitted of murder charges and did not face trial. This was because he had refused to participate in the killing of Richard Parker, and in his testimony was used as evidence against the Dooley and Steffens. Here's what happened to Brooks afterwards: acquittal and testimony, returned to the sea. I will never go back to this.
You're done, nigga.
God, bro.
After what I just went
Why
through.
do people do that? I was with a motorcycle and I lost my legs and now I ride a motorcycle. It's like, what the fuck?
Is you gonna learn your lesson the first time?
I fall and never want to fall again. What are we doing?
You reported settled down near.
He wasn't involved in the killing.
He didn't kill them.
He didn't do the act.
He testified against his people.
It must have been one person that did the.
Yeah, because he said he refused to participate in the killing.
In essence, Brooks accepted legal consequences due to his refusal to participate in the act of murder and his role as a witness for the prosecution. Damn.
He snitched.
Snitches.
Brooks escaped legal consequences due to refusal to participate in the act of murder. But he still ate him.
Okay, so as
Go ahead.
what were the sentence for the rest of the
crew?
Look at us working together. He was acquitted.
Right.
Okay.
Richard Parker died. Why'd you even tell me? Should have kept that part.
She knows we have GEDs. Shut up.
All right.
Dooley and Steffens were found guilty of murder. They were initially sentenced to the statutory death penalty. However, due to significant public sympathy and the extreme circumstances of their situation, their sentences were commuted to a 6 months imprisonment. They were released from prison in May 20th, 1885. Wow, this happened a while ago. Rich Parker died during the ordeal.
No way.
Wow. Emmanuel Brooks was acquitted. Dooley and Steffens was sentenced and received a commuted sentence of 6 months of imprisonment.
You know what this reminds me of? That guy, a guy that had a farm, and I'm trying to remember the whole story. He had people helping him in the farm, and then he heard ruckus, and he looked behind the barn, and caught one of the guys helping, trying to rape his daughter. So he ran and beat the guy up to death. Like, he just kept punching him till the guy died.
Okay.
They found him guilty of murder, but they understood why he did it, and they only gave him like a 6 month sentence, and that was it.
Okay.
And that reminds me of that. They're like, yes, you broke the law, but we understand.
I mean, they were gonna get killed.
Yeah.
For this case.
Yeah.
You know how crazy it is to go from death penalty to hang out for 6 months?
Yeah, that's a different. I'll take 6 months every day.
He said, "I'll take 6 months for 6 months."
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
That means people were protesting with signs
because they understood. Yeah, they understood that there's again, there are in the moment, just like that guy beating up that guy. you're in an emotional. It's overtaking your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You're blinded. You're like, we gonna die. We got to do something. Imagine just freaking out. Like, we got to do this today. Like, there's no waiting. I feel myself about to die.
This reminds me of the penny case in the subway.
Oh, with the choking the guy out?
With choking the guy out.
Yeah.
I was holding him down. My intent wasn't to kill him. I was holding him down to protect everybody else in the train.
But, also, too, like, you're holding him, right? Listen, imagine, just follow me.
I want you to hold me.
The guys, you grab the guy. You're protecting everybody else, so you grab the guy. The guy's fighting you off.
Yeah, you may get AIDS with the cuts.
So you're holding the guy like, I got to hold this guy here till the cops get here. Let me just hold him. Oh. The guy's fighting, trying to get off. But now he's choking. And now he's fighting. And in your head, he's fighting the whole time. What's the difference of your feeling, him fighting before and him fighting for his life? You know what I'm saying? He's fighting either way. You don't even know that you're killing him at this point. At a certain point, you're just holding him for the cops.
Yeah.
He's been fighting the whole time, so there's no difference.
You're just holding him.
You're just holding him. And eventually he stops, and in your head, you're like, he's knocked out. Thank God he's knocked out. Really, he died.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's touching it.
Yeah.
That's touching it.
So, again, you're in the moment. You're activated. You don't know. I mean, think about when you're in a fight with somebody, you punch them, and they hit their head on the floor, and they die. How can they charge you for murder? I mean, they will. But I mean, in the moment, you're like, I don't want to kill the guy.
Yeah, I'm
just defending the moment I'm, emotions are high and I'm just defending my body, and he died.
This is also like flight or fright scenarios.
Yeah.
That it's tough to say these are one of those scenarios where it's tough to ask the question, what would you do? Because we could sit here and play the rational thing to look good in front of the camera, but I don't fucking know what I would do in that scenario.
Yeah.
And there's been very few scenarios where, shit popped off and I got involved.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm like, yeah, I'm out.
It's funny because I think watching videos on the internet, Reddit and all that, and you watch fights and you're like, I've seen so many fights where the guy gets knocked out and even on the floor knocked out, the other guys just keep punching.
Wailing.
And people are like, stop. And he just keep punching. And all I could think of is like, you watch so many fights. It could just be a sucker punch that gets you. Done. And you're knocked out and this guy's wailing on you, then you die. So I guess maybe because I'm old too, I look at it, I'm like, just walk away. You don't got to prove this to nobody. You just walk away. Especially when you have kids, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of this. God forbid, you know what I'm saying? You don't ever know what that person's thinking. His rage. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Some people black out. They just keep going. Like that guy that was punching the kid. The guy was trying to rape his daughter. You know what I'm saying? You never know what puts somebody in that mindset. And
I mean, for me, I think about I was a Western Beef, and there was the express line. It was not express. It was like 10 niggas on that shit, and it was all dudes. And I'm on that line, and clearly a crackhead, someone who's going through it, was like, yeah, I was next. And he gets in front of me. He's like, what you gonna do? And I was just like, and he gets in. He's still being loud ruckus. The cashier is in La La Land, counting numbers in his head. And he goes, he skips me. He skips the other 5 niggas that are behind me. And I get to the line and I was like, this guy just skipped the whole line. And the cashier goes, oh, why did you say something? I would have kicked him out. I was like, because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. I could see like blood cuts in his fingers. I'm like, why would I choose this one to be the hill I die on?
So it's funny. So like I work in Harlem, and there's a lot of those people there.
Yeah.
And every time one of the guys I work with like get into an altercation, like a yelling or talking crap, I'm like, do you really want to touch this guy? Just walk away from him. I don't even want my fist touching his face. He's so dirty. Just walk away. You're gonna win this fight. This guy's malnourished. He hasn't eaten in days. He's dirty. He's been sleeping in the street. You're gonna win this fight. Why would you even want to touch him?
Yeah.
Also, God forbid you punch him and you cut your hand in his tooth. Now you're gonna get whatever mouth disease he has in your blood. Just walk away. Exactly. Just walk away.
And the goal of getting on the express line is to get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna argue and stay for another half an hour because of you.
And the other guys were looking, yeah, why did you? The rest of the guys in the line were all like, yeah, why did you say anything? I was like, because it's already over.
Yeah.
It's
I
already
would have
over.
been like, why didn't you say something?
It's already over. Like,
You want to
we're
get?
done.
You should have got in front of me. You should have all got in front of me. All right. So another similar topic. A similar story, but not exactly the same. But you'll see why. This is a famous story of the Uruguayan football team that crashed into the mountain.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Alive.
So, real quick, yeah, the movie Alive.
I never saw the other one. The second.
There's one on Netflix.
Yeah, breakdown.
Alive. I don't remember. I remember the live one blowing my mind when I was a kid.
That
The new one was pretty good.
Wild. When
The
they cut the butt
pictures-
cheek? Go ahead.
Yeah, they have pictures that they published online that in the background you can see the skeleton.
Wow, they went in.
Yeah, because they would literally they ate the entire body. They left nothing. Also, they're cold, so everything's frozen. It's like in the freezer. They're just cutting.
Yeah, so it lasted for a while.
The plane crashes. A lot of people die. Some people live. Eventually, they're there long. A lot of stuff happens in between that I'm not going to go into. Basically, what it comes down to is they're like, we're starving.
They didn't eat the other people that died first?
No, because remember when they first crashed, they weren't starving just yet. So there was a while, like a week passed before they were like, we got to eat people.
Yeah, but they had bodies.
Yeah, they had body, but also bodies are frozen.
Oh, so
Just like your meat is in the freezer.
Yeah, so when...
So the people were there waiting for them. They didn't get rotten. They were just there.
Oh, I guess they didn't eat the frozen ones that died on the impact because they were too frozen?
I mean, they didn't have to eat them right away. They
didn't kill someone to eat.
I don't know who they ate first. There's two people that know who ate them first because they were designated the ones to cut the meat. But the guys on the plane were like, I don't want to know who I'm eating. So you guys keep that secret, you two.
Oh, gosh.
So they're the only ones that know who they ate. And they were like, the problem is that there was family members on the plane.
Time out. I forgot what it was. They didn't murder someone to eat.
No.
Different story. Go ahead. Right. They didn't.
That's why it's
they
a different
just ate
scenario.
the bodies. Yeah, they ate the frozen bodies. That's what right.
So some of the people on the plane were their family members. Oh. So you can't cut up a person, feed it, and the guy's eating it,
uncle,
not knowing that's your freaking sister that you're eating now. You know what I'm saying? So they want to save the people from that thought. And I wonder if they chose those two people because they weren't related to anybody, so it didn't matter. Oh, they ate the pilot first because nobody knew the pilot, so they ate the
That's so fucked up. And makes total sense.
Yeah. I get it. He probably would have been my vote too,
Yeah. I'm going to go with that one. Good.
So the ethical dilemma, first of all, eating people is an ethical dilemma in itself.
I mean, you got to be starving, bro. Again, flight or fright. We don't know.
We don't know. And then they're freezing too. So one of the ethical dilemmas within that was they were Catholics. So the thought was, these dead people that are here, is it unethical to eat them? Or is it like a sin to eat them? Or is God providing us with a meal?
I'm going to go with a meal.
Yeah. And if we don't eat it, or we, it's almost like that idea of like, you're stuck on an island and a boat comes. And they're like, oh, we're here to save you. And you're like, no. God's going to save me.
Bitch, I'm here right now.
The boat leaves and the helicopter comes. Hey, we're here to save you. No. God's going to save me. And then when you die, God, you're like, yo, God, you didn't save me. He goes, I sent a boat, I sent a helicopter. It's kind of that theory of saying, are we going to not eat these people?
So you committed suicide, that's a sin, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
You should have eaten the meat.
Meanwhile, God's like, I gave you all this freaking meat here. You could have ate it and lived.
I think I would have eaten it.
How long were they on that thing? For 40 days or something like that?
Enough to be hungry to eat a human being.
Uruguayan soccer team on the mountains. That's not what I wanted you to say. Uruguayan soccer team crashes into the mountain.
Gentleman is like, yeah, I know.
Oh, there it goes. 1972 flight, crash, initial survivors, 32 survived, blah blah blah.
72 days after, only 16 survivors remained.
72
Two of the
days.
strongest survivors, Nano Peraldo and Roberto Casasara, trekked for 4 days and found help, which led to the rescue of the remaining survivors in December 22 and 23 of 1972. The aftermath. The incident, often referred to as the Miracle of Angels, gained worldwide attention after their survival has been depicted in books and films, including the 1993 movie Alive and the 2023 film Society of the Snow. The Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 crashed in the remarkable is a remarkable story of human endurance, survival in the face of unimaginable.
70. So I remember, news thing. They were like, when they were finally like, oh my god, we found them. The first thought everybody has was like, 72 days? How did you guys live that long with no food and no water? And then someone like, well, what happened was God provided food for us.
Wait, how many days was it?
72
days. Yeah, I think you could survive 40. After 40, you're going into trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble, yeah.
Out of the 29 people who died, 15 bodies were found with only skeletons. They ate 15 niggas.
Full people.
Full, like to the
organs,
bone.
Everything. Dick. Just like
I wish you would have seen our faces.
Fernando's
he got serious right
Fernando's like, what is this? This meat is different. Don't worry about it.
You don't want to know, Fernando.
Don't worry, Fernando.
Buen provecho. Bon appetit.
Pedro's looking at everybody else like, don't talk to Fernando. Don't eat his food.
Who we gonna give the dick to today? Holy Christ, that's horrible. There were also 13 untouched bodies and the pilot who was pinned outside the cop. Wait, so they didn't kill the pilot?
Wait, let's ask I thought the pilot was the first one they ate.
It's important to remember that this was a situation of extreme survival on unfortunately.
We should ask him what was the order. You ask it. You want me to ask it?
Yeah.
All right. What was the order of the people that they ate?
Working.
I love when it's like shows it thinking.
The search results did not provide a particular order in which the bodies were consumed by the survivors of the Air Flight 571 crash. It indicated that the decision to do so was extremely difficult as a part of the
it was the co-pilot that they ate.
Damn! So it was like, let's respect the pilot, but not the co-pilot.
But not the co-pilot, right? The bodies of the pilot, co-pilot, and Carlos Vega were among used
to survive.
They ate their dicks.
Wait, how many people did they do? How many people did they eat?
They ate 15
bodies. That's 15 potential penises.
Hold on, I wonder if you can show me pictures. Can you show me images and pictures of the crash? Uruguayan Flight 71.
571.
First of all, I didn't click anything. It's just talking to nothing right now.
We're talking to nobody.
All right. Uruguayan Flight 571. Zoom in. Is that a person?
God, I thought that was a person sticking out right here.
Fernando's dick. Is it wires?
Yeah, it's like equipment or something.
Maybe it's equipment. All right, go to the next picture.
Next picture. Damn, bro.
No,
Did they have fire?
It was color. Yeah, I mean, they could probably make fire, but
this was different because they didn't kill them. They just knew that what they were eating were humans.
Hold on. I got an idea. Because I know for sure.
Okay.
I know exactly where to find the images.
Do you live with yourself knowing that you ate a dead body? Yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah, it happened. I know what you taste like.
I know, right?
You guys love steak? Try dick.
Dick steak.
God, that guy looked really upset. He was like, I'm eating dick here. Wait, your head is covering him.
Oh. That's Fernando.
Fernando's like, yeah, they gave me dick again. That's fucking horrible. Adidas. How did it get in there?
Brought to you by Adidas. Adidas should use this for an ad.
They're like, it's our equipment that kept them alive. Nope, it was a lot of body parts. I think that's the end of the slides there.
Was it one of the freaking pictures?
Hey, you're looking for body parts, aren't
I'm
you?
looking for body parts, bro.
Nah, they must have kept that like, yeah. I could imagine that they did it like, okay, these are the two people that are in charge of this. We're gonna have a whole area for you. Do it over there. Bring this shit to us.
I want to find the body parts.
Oh God, you're horrible, bro.
No, because I know I've seen them before.
Man, you remember it in the movie? You saw the movie Alive, right?
I did, yeah.
You saw how they made it look like, right? It looked like,
I don't remember. I want to watch it again though. Wow, look at the pictures are so clear.
wow, that is definitely enhanced.
That is such a good image. I mean, obviously, it's a horrible situation. Look, he has the pilot's hat on. That's crazy, nigga. He's like, well, I ate him, so.
And then they trekked and found like springs, and it was warm.
They found the back of the plane. And they found
No, the two
water.
guys that left. Like, didn't they go down and then they found like springs and water?
Oh, yeah.
They jumped in the thing and were like, yay. And then eventually ran into people. Or like, we got some people up there. They need your help. Yeah, this is where we are.
But like, this is nothing.
Determining the ethics behind this versus those guys that chose to eat that cabin boy
Cabin boy.
is vastly different. But I think that, you know, this ties into, you know, are we allowed to, you know, if I'm in a car and my 6-year-old son is in the car with me and a bunch of people approach the vehicle, it's gonna be pedal to the metal.
I have to run them over.
I'm not even trying to run anyone over. You see how that mindset came in?
Yeah, like, I don't want to do this.
I have to say, I'm not running anybody over. I'm saving my child.
Yeah. This is an act of desperation to save my child.
When they ask me, what did you do? I saved my child.
Yeah. Because I've seen what happens. Again, it's one of those, it's like what I was saying before. If you get knocked out, you don't know what's going to happen. If they stop that car, you do not know what's happened. If they don't know your kid's in there, what if they just rage and they break the back window?
Yeah.
Or what if they throw, God forbid, they throw something in there?
Did you saw the video of the white guys that got the motorcycle gang involved, and the guy was like, "That's my car. You're in my car." And the black family's like, "Yo, bro, this is not your car." And the kid's crying in the background, "Daddy, they hit in the window." And he's calling the cops. I'm being surrounded. These crazy people think that this is their car. It's not their car. And then the motorcycle gang's like, "Yo, give him his fucking car." And I'm just like, "Nah, that's it. Gas to."
Yeah, I'm gone.
I'm gone. I know those motorcycles are gonna chase me. Guess what? I'm running them over too.
And I'm going straight to a police station.
Like that exact Google police station.
Yeah.
I gotta get there, and there'll be heads and body parts on the hood. But guess what? Roll the tape.
Yeah.
Arrest me. My son is
My
safe.
son is safe, yeah.
Arrest
son
me.
is allowed to see the next day.
Go crazy. And again, I think that's why to answer the question I asked, would I eat somebody if I was in that flight? Yeah. I would eat.
Yeah.
I would eat.
Especially if you have someone at home, you're like,
Fuck that.
I gotta go home. I got kids. I gotta watch them grow up.
Fuck that. It goes back to the can you hold your breath and die?
Yeah.
I gotta eat.
I gotta eat.
My brain is just like, I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I gotta preserve myself. I gotta eat. Now, to go back to the original question, am I pushing the fat guy or hitting the lever? Might sound like a pussy, but I think I'm gonna hit the lever.
Yeah, the lever is the way to go.
The lever is the way to go. And unfortunately, to throw that fat guy into the train track is, to me, it's like touching the water bug. It's just something that I'm just not willing to do.
All right, guys. What do you guys think? Do you guys would push the guy, pull the lever? Would you eat the body? Would you kill the kid on the boat and live?
Would you suffocate the baby if you're hiding in the closet?
Oh, so many ethical questions. There's so many good ones. What would you guys think? Chime in down below. Love you guys. Peace.
Mwah.
This wasn't recording.
It wasn't?